You asked for more and I'm bringing them to you. In this video, I'll be showing you not one, not three, but 5 different styles of pumpkins for different styles or moods in your home, office, or anywhere you see fit. I even have one pumpkin decor idea that I'm almost certain you have not seen before, and I even have the easiest pumpkin that you will ever make. So make sure you stick around to the end, and without any further ado, let's get started. To make my first pumpkin, I use an orange and green foam pumpkin that they just started to carry in my local Dollar Tree. I removed the little green trunk and then painted the entire pumpkin and trunk with my Waverly chalk paint in the color Mineral. Once the chalk paint dried, I used the color Ink, also by Waverly, to give my pumpkin a nice weathered look to it. Then I went in with the color Moss to add a little depth to the ridges and the color Truffle to add some more layers and really tie all of the colors together. Once all my paint dried, I clipped some of my Dollar Tree oak leaves and glued them to the top of my pumpkin. I used mainly the red leaves from the picks for a pop of color, and I also added a couple of the green leaves for contrast and layering. Then I used a little bit of the leftover Dollar Tree nautical rope from a prior project and wrapped it around the foam trunk. This really gave it a nice rustic look, and I just loved how it turned out. For my second pumpkin, I started with a straw hat that I had purchased at a friend's garage sale for just $1. I unraveled the entire hat because I wanted to use the braided straw on my pumpkin. I had actually seen a similar hack using hats from the Dollar Tree, and when I saw this one, I thought, why not? Then I removed the trunk to another foam pumpkin and began gluing the braided straw along the outside of my pumpkin. Similar to my Halloween faux candle project, the hot glue was melting right through my styrofoam. You'd think I would have learned my lesson from the last project, but what can I say? I really love using my hot glue gun. And of course, in my determination to keep using it, I did find that if I place the hot glue on the straw first and let it cool off slightly before applying it to the foam, it wouldn't be hot enough to melt the styrofoam. You know what they say about persistence. Once that part was complete, I began adding some of the leftover leaves from one of my prior pumpkin projects. I really loved the beautiful yellow and gold tones of the leaves together with the green leaf. I also used a little bit of the green ribbon that I found in the crafter square section at the Dollar Tree to make a little bow and selected 2 corks for consideration when adding my trunk. Now, I am no pro at making bows, so all I did was cut 3 even pieces and then I cut the edges diagonally to make the points at the end. But before layering the pieces onto my pumpkin, I glued my trunk to the top of my pumpkin and then started to add the first 2 layers of my ribbon. I decided to wrap a smaller piece of ribbon around the midsection of my last piece before applying it to the top of my pumpkin to give it the illusion of being wrapped in a nice tight bow. Then I added a few more of those golden yellow leaves and I also roughed up the edges of the ribbon. But then I was curious to see what it would look like if I added a darker color to the bottom, so I grabbed my Waverly chalk paint in the color Truffle and dry brushed it onto the bottom portion of my pumpkin. I felt like it really accentuated the braiding of the straw, so I thought it really elevated the look. But I'm curious to know, would you have left it without the paint? For my third pumpkin, I used my apple barrel paint in the color white to paint the entire foam pumpkin. Now these pumpkins do also come in all white, but my store just didn't have them in stock at the time. You can also order them online from the Dollar Tree, but at the time of filming this video, they were only available by the case, which holds 36 pumpkins, and it was just a lot more than what I really needed. While I let my paint dry, I took some buffalo check ribbon from the crafter square section at the Dollar Tree, and I first cut all 9 feet down the middle. Once that was complete, I started to fray the edges of the ribbon with my fingernail, then I just pulled a few pieces of the thread until I got to the end. Next, I began gluing the ribbon to my pumpkin. I measured the length I would need by cutting 1 piece of ribbon, then used that one to pre-cut all the others. I recommend doing this because it does make the gluing part of this project faster, but it really isn't necessary. In the end, I only needed to use 1 entire roll of the ribbon. To make my pumpkin trunk, I used some leftover nautical rope and a little bit of hot glue. I simply folded the nautical rope down from the top first, then added more glue and folded it from the bottom up. Then I started to twist it around itself from the top until it got about 3/4 of the way down. Then I attached the bottom unwrapped portion to the top of my pumpkin. Once attached, I wrapped my nautical rope around the top until the base became wider to make it look more like it was really rooted into the pumpkin. Keep in mind that this is your project and you can make it look any way you want. That's the beauty of DIY projects. Just let loose and have fun with it. For the final touch, I added some green leaves and that was it. Now, this fourth pumpkin was a breeze, and because I already had this Halloween spider print fabric left over, it only cost me $1 to make. All I did was eyeball the amount of fabric that I would need to cover my pumpkin, and I cut away the excess fabric. Then I cut a hole on the top of the pumpkin and tucked all of my fabric into the hole, leaving some loosely folded areas that would resemble the ridges. Then I used a broken branch piece that broke off of a fall wreath I had made in one of my prior videos and placed it at the top of my pumpkin for the trunk. I consider this one my minimalist pumpkin. For the pilot-inspired pumpkin, I use these old FAA or Federal Aviation Administration maps that we had laying around the house. While I was successful in tearing the map the first time around, these maps are really sturdy and aren't as easy to tear as paper, so I opted for cutting the rest of one booklet with my scissors instead. Then I took some Mod Podge and I applied it on my foam pumpkin, and then I applied the paper strips onto my pumpkin. I did this for the entire piece and also applied a generous layer of Mod Podge on top of the paper after I had covered my entire pumpkin and even throughout to help keep it down, since it didn't apply as easily as regular paper would. Now, since I didn't have any cotton balls, I improvised with these cotton picks I had from the Dollar Tree. Then I cut a small hole on the top of my pumpkin to make room for my trunk. And I used some hot glue to adhere my cotton to the top of my pumpkin, but not covering the hole. And to really top it off, I used this airplane wine stopper that we had received as a gift some time ago. Now, if you're ready to keep making those pumpkins and haven't done so already, check out this video right over here for some more inspiration. Also, there is still time to claim your free SVG digital download that you can use for any Halloween themed project. That code can be found by watching this video right over here. And if you'd like to see something specific, drop me a comment in the comment section below and I'll try to get that to you as well. Just curious to see other DIY projects? YouTube has made some video suggestions right over here that I invite you to take a look at. And if you like seeing content like this, I invite you to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so that you don't miss any of my weekly videos. My name is Ellie Lee with Ellie Lee Designs, and until the next one, bye.